There was a moment, before light existed, before time had anywhere to go, before space had anything to hold, a moment so small, so impossibly, incomprehensibly small, that calling it a point is already an exaggeration. And then everything not an explosion. We need to be precise about this because the word explosion implies something spreading outward through space that already exists. There was no space. Not yet. What happened was stranger than that. Space itself began. Time itself began. The laws of physics, the rules that govern every atom, every force, everything that has ever existed began. All of it at once, from nothing that had a name. We call it the Big Bang. It is the most tested, most confirmed, most precisely measured event in the history of science, and it is also the one event our physics cannot fully describe, because the equations we trust, Einstein's general relativity, the framework that has survived every test for over a century, break down at the very moment we need them most. At the beginning. At the singularity, where temperature becomes infinite, where density becomes infinite, where the mathematics simply stops working. For decades, physicists have known this is the problem. The theory is perfect everywhere except the one place that matters most, the origin, to worlds of physics general relativity, which describes the very large, and quantum mechanics, which describes the very small, have never agreed. They produce different answers. They speak different languages. They have refused, for 100 years, to be unified into one. And at the Big Bang, where everything was at once, the very large and the very small both are needed, and neither is enough. Until now. In March of 2026, a team at the University of Waterloo and the Perimeter Institute published something remarkable. They found a new way to explain how the universe began, one that does not rely on patched-together theories or extra assumptions bolted onto existing models. Space.com. Their framework is called Quadratic Quantum Gravity, theory that remains mathematically stable even at the extreme energies of the first instant, even at the singularity, even where everything else breaks. What they found is this: the Big Bang's explosive early expansion, an event that set everything in motion, may arise naturally from this deeper framework, not as an assumption, not as something added by hand, but as something the mathematics produces on its own. Space.com. The beginning emerging from the equations themselves. Think about what that means. For a century, our best description of the Big Bang has required us to insert inflation, the period of explosive expansion, into the theory by hand. To say here, at this moment, we assume this happened because the existing mathematics could not produce it on its own. It was a patch, an honest one, a necessary one, but still the patch. What Waterloo found is a framework where the patch is no longer needed. Where the beginning is not assumed. It is derived. And there is something else. Space.com. Something that separates this from every previous attempt to describe the origin of the universe. The new model makes predictions, detectable signals from the universe's earliest moments imprinted in the oldest light we can observe that future measurements could confirm or rule out. Space.com. This is not speculation. This is not philosophy dressed in mathematics. This is a testable theory of how the universe began, a set of fingerprints left in the cosmic microwave background, that ancient, faint afterglow of the Big Bang still reaching us across 13.8 billion years of space waiting to be read. The cosmic microwave background. We should pause here. In 1964, two engineers in New Jersey were trying to eliminate an annoying hiss from a radio antenna. They checked everything, recalibrated every instrument, cleared birds from inside the dish. The hiss remained, coming from everywhere, every direction. All at once, they had discovered the oldest light in the universe. Not light we can see, light stretched by 13.8 billion years of expansion into microwave radiation, the afterglow of the first moment. Still arriving, still carrying within it the imprint of everything that happened in the first seconds of existence. That ancient light is now our most powerful tool for testing theories of the beginning. And what the Waterloo team predicts are specific patterns, specific ripples, specific signatures embedded in that oldest light may be within reach of the next generation of telescopes, the CMBS for experiment, the Simons Observatory, instruments being built right now to read the universe's birth certificate with a precision never before achieved. If they find the fingerprints this theory predicts, we will have done something no generation before us has ever done. We will have looked all the way back to the first instant and understood it. There is something worth sitting with here. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. In all of that time, through the ignition of the first stars, the formation of the first galaxies, the slow assembly of planets, the long improbable emergence of life, it took until now. This moment, this generation, for something the universe produced was to build instruments sensitive enough, develop mathematics precise enough, ask questions deep enough to begin to understand the moment everything began. The universe spent 13.8 billion years producing minds capable of asking how it started. We are not there yet. The theory needs to be tested. The predictions need to be checked. The fingerprints in the ancient light need to be found or not found. That is how science works. Not with certainty, with questions precise enough to be answered. And what the Waterloo team has given us is not an answer. Not yet, but something rarer. A question finally sharp enough to cut through to the beginning. Before light, before time, before space had anything to hold. Something happened. And for the first time in the history of human thought, we may be close enough to the mathematics of that momento. Hear what it was.